Okay, so my kid just knocked on the door right before we're gonna start.
We got the what?
I'm like, I don't hit record because this is what we're talking about, and it relates today to today's topic. Can I have a treat?
But your face, like that was real mom life right there, okay? Because your face, because nobody could see it but me, you were like, I'm going to pick and choose my battles right now. I know what time it is, but whatever, yes, I need to get work done right now.
Exactly. And even the whole term treat, like, I get it. Obviously, I don't want to, coin um, candy or chocolate or whatever as a treat and differentiate it. But then again, like, I also feel like there does need to be that differentiation because it's not like I've tried to use the sometimes food and all of the time food
Yeah, yeah.
distinction. But I think I didn't actually wrap my head around that and actually learn about that until it was a bit too late. And I think that the word treat had already been imprinted in their brains. So now it's just a treat. And I do continue to reinforce that no, it's not a treat, it's just food. It's just sometimes food. Like we can have it sometimes.
Yeah.
We want to, focus on eating our meals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like foods that provide us the protein and the fat for brain health and energy that's going to last longer. That is what I try to teach them.
Yeah.
But whatever, they're
But
always
I
going to
don't
call
think
it a treat.
necessarily the word treat is necessarily needs to have a negative connotation around it,
Yeah,
because it is a
yeah.
treat, because it's the same idea that like a treat is a sometimes food, not an everyday food. So I think
Hmm.
that as long as you're like hitting home the fact that like we can have these things, but again, this is just a sometimes thing. Like we can't rely on this to be our everyday thing or all the time
Yeah,
thing. It's okay to refer to it as a treat, because I refer to it as a treat because it is a
yeah,
treat. Even meals out, like we've had this discussion
yeah.
in a previous podcast, where like a meal out is a treat because again, it's supposed to be a sometimes thing and not an everyday occurrence thing. So I don't find that, me as a mom, because I think maybe though too I'm biased because we're like minded, I don't find the word treat to be something bad where it's going to create this kind of food disorder for them. So that's just me
Yeah,
though.
yeah, I think so too. I think that they're learning. We just continue to teach them. And I know you do this with your daughters because I've seen you do it on Instagram. But it's like, okay, pair your food up. It's a protein, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
we're having a donut at breakfast, but it also is paired with eggs and sausage
Mm-hmm.
and whatever else you might be having. So it's really teaching them that as well, alongside, yeah, you can have this too,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's what we teach our clients too. It's kind of like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not that you can't have it, you just can't have it all the time.
Yeah. But then that's
Right?
also too, I think that's a really important topic. So I'm going to go ahead and segue it
Yeah.
into our intro because it's going to lead me to this next point that we're talking about, as long as I don't forget
Hmm.
what I'm trying to talk about. So, anyways, guys, welcome back to our podcast episode of Breaking the Cycle, Redefining Weight Loss, Health, and Mom Life. And today we're going to talk about Halloween specifically and some of the struggles that people deal with around Halloween. And what I essentially wanted to, I guess, go back to that point on before I introed us is that
Yeah.
the problem is that the negative connotation around the word treat or goodies or sweets comes because people are overly restrictive. And I think that that's really the overarching theme of why people have a hard time around specific foods, is because they have this binge restrict kind of situation happening all the time, or they have this narrative in their head that the treats, and I'm going to stick with the Reese's peanut butter cups or the pumpkins right now because that's a hot topic for
Yeah.
you and I right now.
It
because
is.
because like I'm getting down. I got the Costco size bag in my refrigerator, but we'll digress into that later as to why I can manage to have that, where some people it might not be manageable to have
Hmm.
something like that there, because again I have a good relationship with food and I'm okay to have something like that where I understand like that's a sometimes thing. But again, the problem with why people struggle, and this is just a very blanket statement because I know there is a lot of layers behind people struggling with food and their relationship with food,
Hmm.
but for the most part it's because people have grown up thinking that they have to restrict, they can't have certain things are good versus bad. The Reese's pumpkins are bad, I can't have them, but you can have them as long as you have a decent relationship with food, you know how to fuel yourself properly, and you understand that, here we go, it's a treat. It's a sometimes food. So there is that word, that's
Mhm.
that full circle moment. And that's kind of had like the idea I had that I was sitting with when we were talking about what we were going to talk about today is I really do believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, or you can give your opinion on this. I really do believe a lot of the struggle is because people think that they have to overly restrict or they ban themselves from having certain things when it's not about what can you take away, it's what can you add into what you're already
Mhm.
normally eating. So what's your thought process on that?
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I think you already touched on that. Like, there's lots of layers to this, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily
Black and
just
white.
the food. Yeah, as always.
It
Um,
depends.
just gonna say it depends.
I know you. I saw it. You're like, I want to say it, but I don't want to say it. But it
I
does depend. I can see
know.
it.
I know, and then like it's again, it's your relationship as far as like what you already touched on. Again, is it good and bad food? Like, how do you perceive it?
Mm-hmm.
It's also what we've been ingrained to believe, like sugar makes you fat,
Mm.
carbs make you fat. So if you're gonna go on a air quotes diet, you have to cut out sugar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that again, that just ties into the whole restrict thing as well. The reasons for the restriction are going to vary. We don't know always what they are. They can also be very, very deep as well. Coupled with these ingrained beliefs, it's also when we. Okay, so I know for me, Reese's pumpkins. Obviously, I love them, and I've had a little bit of an obsession with them the last few weeks, and probably eating too many. But obviously not the whole bag. Okay, that's a difference. Just a few, which add up. They do really add up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but geez, I just lost my train of thought. I think I was gonna say,
Your relationship with
oh,
Reese's
emotional.
pumpkins.
Yeah. So then it depends on, I guess, what it comes down to, is it emotional? Like, is it? It is. It's coming from a place of emotion as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just, oh, I have to restrict this because of this, this, and this. So when you're going to that bag and you start eating whatever it is, how much are you eating? Are you eating the whole thing? And
Mm-hmm.
at that point, it's kind of like, yeah, maybe you're just in a state of dysregulation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, it is very much emotional. And I think when we have addressed that, then it is much more manageable to and easier to navigate
Mm-hmm.
having that bag of candy for
Mm-hmm.
us, Reese's Pieces, in our homes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's how I see it. That's how I um, kind of associate my experience as well with it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have it in the house before, or if I had it in the house before, it was, yeah, if I was going through something, that's what I would turn to, and I'd go all out.
Can you
What's
hear
that
her
in the back?
humming?
Yeah,
It's my kid
yeah.
humming right now. Babe, we can hear you humming.
She can't hear herself because she has headphones on, right?
She does it, but I'm like she's over there.
She forgot.
She
She
so she just like slept down right now.
Don't worry, I heard knocking on the door. I choose to ignore it.
Mom life again. I mean, she wants to be in here. So, like I said in previous podcast,
Yeah,
like, what am I gonna do? She's
I know
she's
it's
pretty
all
good,
good.
whatever. But she's humming. I don't know. She just watched K-pop Demon Hunter, so she's probably humming one of their
Oh,
songs right now.
up, up. No, I
I'll
can't
be your
sing,
soda
but
pop. My bad. My little soda pop.
golden.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Anyways,
Okay, anyways, yes. Back
so
to.
back to our topic. Yes, I do believe that some of it is emotional, and we've touched a little bit on that in previous podcasts as well. And even you have touched on it, where it's not about stopping it, right? Because
Mhm.
that just means that you're trying to overly control everything, and we all know that when you try to overly control a situation, it becomes a bad thing, right? Because
Mhm.
then you're like,
Mhm.
you almost like want to fight against, like it's end fighting within yourself when you're trying to control yourself. But I think it's
Yeah.
about limiting the occurrences and identifying the occurrences, right? And being
Right.
able to identify, like, do I have zero fucks right now? Am I emotional? Am I stressed? Like, what is it? It's about being able to take a step back and be like, okay, so it happened, but maybe can I identify why it happened? Because
Mhm.
much like to you, this week was a stressful week for me. And I posted on my
Mhm.
stories that I went
I
full
know.
send on a bag of rainbow Haribo gummy worms, which I know for a fact I have zero control around them. And when I say zero
Mm-hmm.
control, it's just like when I open the bag, if I'm not in a fat loss phase, I will hit the bottom of the bag and like not even think about it because I'm just like
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But again, because of everything that I've done leading up into this point, I can afford that, right? I do have that
Mm-hmm.
flexibility because it's not an everyday occurrence, it's a sometimes occurrence. So I hit that bottom of the bag this week. I had logged for a serving, and one serving is, I think, 110 calories. And in one
Mm-hmm.
of those share a size bags, share a size my ass.
Definitely did not share. What a yeah, we don't share. My
Share a
bank, my
size
bank
my
gets hidden.
butt. So when I hit the bottom of the bag, the servings for that is 3.5 servings. So the 110 calories turned into well over 500 calories, which a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
don't understand. Like that can happen very quickly, but we don't dwell. So I
No.
posted it to my stories and I said, "Hey, just to let you know, gentle reminder, like even people who live this lifestyle who you think or perceive have it quote unquote figured out, we have our days also. We are human also." And it's just one of those things where I'm like, "Okay, I owned up to it. I shared it to my
Mm-hmm.
stories and I'm like, "Hey, look, I had a human experience right now because I'm stressed." I'm stressed because I'm worried about the dog. I went to the store to try to keep myself busy. And what did I see? I saw them. And I knew damn well I shouldn't have brought them home because I already knew I was stressed,
Yeah.
and I already knew I wasn't going to have any control over it, but I still did it anyways. So
Yeah.
there's where I have to take accountability that I didn't set myself up for a positive environment, but I acknowledge it. I know it.
Right.
And that's where
Right.
people need to really do that work within themselves. It's not just the boring basics, it's that work within yourself to identify, like, why are you operating this way? What is it?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Mm-hmm.
it something from like the very, very, very beginning for you, like where you lived in a very toxic fight or flight environment growing up, and so you self-soothed with food made you good or made you feel better? Like what was it? And
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the experience that people, I think, they try to avoid because it's hard.
Yeah, it's always like, I feel like it always, obviously, but like it does come back to introspection, right? Like sitting, kind of just being present and kind of
Mm-hmm.
figuring out, asking yourself why,
Mm-hmm.
why, right? Like, and I think that's really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's
But
really
it's
hard to
empowering to do once you're
choose.
able to do it.
It is. Yeah. It's hard to choose to do that. Hard to face those things, the reasons for inaction or, whatever it is that's holding you back. Usually, like what you just said, it is time. It's probably time to take a deeper dive and ask
Mm-hmm.
yourself why. Um, yeah, so going back to the candy part of it though, now like we're entering Halloween, right? Season,
Mm-hmm.
or it is. It's October. So as we're recording this podcast, and I remember, Carmi, when we were younger. Okay, what did your parents give out for Halloween? Because typical Indian brown family.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Did you tell me first?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna
I'm
tell
like,
you.
oh my, because you're putting your face in your palm right now. So I'm
I
like, tell me, did they,
Okay,
did
forget
they?
about all the rules, like, unwrapped candy, all of those things back then. I mean, they just didn't exist, but we gave out, my parents would buy. And of course, it comes down to like economic means and all of that too,
Uh huh.
right? But every Brown family, I don't think it mattered if you had money or not. It was a bag of peanuts, a huge bag, right? We're talking like, I don't know, 2 kg, whatever.
Okay.
Shelled peanuts. You put that in a bowl, and then you would get those little toffees. Do you remember those little square
Yeah.
toffees? I don't know what they
Yeah.
call them.
Okay.
And they would mix that in there. And that's what we gave out for just handful.
No, really? Like out of the
Yes.
bowl?
Yeah, yeah. And back then though, okay, look, listen, we're born in the 80s,
Uh
okay?
huh.
Early 80s. And so back then you didn't all of these chocolates that you see now at every grocery store, mini size packages, mini size portions, which are actually a really good thing. And we'll get into that as far as the strategy is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
that can help you navigate Halloween, or the month of October. those weren't available back then. They just weren't. And if they were, it was really expensive and it was just a specific type of candy. And so there's that part of it too. Now it's just so readily available and
Yeah.
in our faces and all year long.
Yeah. And wherever you
All
go.
freaking year long. So yeah, so I don't know. What was your experience?
Well, I don't have an amazing story like you do. My parents were very typical,
Oh.
like, because they were very like, because they were immigrants, so they were like, no, let's stay with the Joneses, let's keep up with the Joneses. So
Mm,
I mean, when I was little, I don't remember what they would give out, but I'm assuming it was probably just like the little like bite-sized candies. My parents would
mm,
sometimes shell out for like the regular size bars and hand those
yeah.
out. So it was very just typical in
Oh,
my
okay.
So that's why I was like, what? I
Oh,
want to hear
okay. Yeah,
yours
no.
first.
Probably. Probably why I hand out full size candy bars.
You're like, I'm making up for all the
I'm
years
like, I'm
past.
breaking the cycle. Telling
Oh
you,
my
we're breaking
gosh.
cycles.
We are. No matter what it looks like, we are breaking cycles, dang it.
Yeah, and maybe like you don't quite recall.
Oh,
Kids crying. Don't worry, they'll be dealt with. They're
as
good.
long as you don't see
Um,
blood.
yeah, but that's a big part of this now, and the environment that we're in, and just the food landscape. Like it's so
Mhm.
readily available all year long. It's not just specific to the month of October and
Yeah.
Halloween anymore,
I mean,
right?
we go to the
So
hardware store and the end caps are full of a bunch of junk too. So
yeah, yeah, exactly, right. And so it's just in your face. It's there, and yeah, I don't know, like I guess how can we provide you some strategies and maybe tools. I know for me, when I first started, um, I would include a Reese's chocolate type of, it was one of those keto ones though.
they had
For
that.
some reason. Yeah, they had them at Costco. So it was
Oh,
like this. Yeah, it was a keto one, so low, like no sugar,
uh
whatever.
huh.
I thought that was better, but I could have just had an actual Reese's cup, but didn't understand that then. Anyway, so I had one of those every day. Like I included that they were individually wrapped, and I made because and obviously at that time I didn't understand including that would actually help me, like because after a certain point it's just like I phased out of it. I
Because you're
stopped eating it.
desensitizing yourself to it, and that's what people don't
Yep.
understand, because it goes back to the whole restrictive thing. If you start to allow these things on a normal basis in small amounts, you're desensitizing yourself to it, so it doesn't become as glamorous to you anymore, because you're like, oh, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think that's a great tool for anyone that's listening if they want to implement that. Just have one every single day, and it's
Mm-hmm.
perfect because you have a small snack size portion available to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just try that out and give yourself permission to have it,
Mm-hmm.
that will one help you with that kind of restriction mindset, but also help you with the fact like the way that we talk to ourselves about food, like I can't have this type of mentality, right?
Yes,
So I think
because
it
that's a
goes to help with
self-limiting
that.
belief.
Exactly, exactly. And, transitioning this conversation to our kids, even with Halloween, I don't know. I do this with my kids too, just because I think it's important. I'll buy a box of Halloween candy and I'll let them have one every day, and they're fine with it. And they'll just have that one. When it comes to Halloween night, like I don't restrict them at all. I kind of let them have whatever they want once they come back
Mm-hmm.
with their stash.
Yeah.
And they usually end up only having like three or four small uh, treats, whatever, lollipop, gummies, chocolate,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be, and they're like, I'm good.
Yeah,
So like
because
they've, yeah,
go
go ahead.
ahead, go ahead. No, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, so I don't relate to that whole like my kids binge on candy and get sick on Halloween night type of
Mm-hmm.
thing, right?
Because
Because
you don't overly restrict your kids, and that's the same thing.
yeah,
That's going to be the overarching theme: is your kids are going to act like little gremlins, because this is going to be like this occurrence that only happens once a year, where they're like full send, like I have all this candy. But if you allow the quote unquote treats to be normalized in your home, you're desensitizing
Mm-hmm.
your children. They're not going to want to go and hit the bottom of the freaking Halloween bag on
Mm-hmm.
Halloween night because they know, like, hey, mom and dad, or mom or dad lets us have this. This is not, there's no scarcity around it. They understand it's
Right.
going to be there and it's okay. And I think that that's probably one of the most important things for people to understand, because you said a very powerful word, and I don't know if people understand it.
Mm-hmm.
You said, allow yourself permission. Allow yourself permission to enjoy the things, so you can therefore allow your kids or your family to enjoy the things, and understand that this is not something that you just have to be like, no, X can't have it. This is terrible for us. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
I take the same approach with my kids. Like,
Yeah.
nothing is really off limits unless you're allergic to it, or it fell on the floor, or the dog ate it first. Like,
Right.
like,
Right.
I mean, if you want it, cool, but let's do it like within reason.
And it's the same kind of, just the way that we approach our own um, eating habits and nutrition. It's really similar. It's how we kind of, and I'm grateful for having learned all of this
Hmm.
and taking that step when I did, because I know it would have been a totally different story for them otherwise. Like their life would have looked
Yes.
completely different, even in terms of that. They would have been eating more processed stuff, would have been eating out more,
Hmm.
all of that. And so their relationship with food, of course, is going to be impacted, right?
Yeah.
So as a parent, I feel like if I can apply this to me, then I can apply this to my children just in a different way, like in a way that they can understand, right? Kid language.
Yeah, of
And
course.
yeah, yeah. With Halloween, so I no longer find it difficult to navigate anymore. It's just whatever, right? Like, and
Hmm.
even for me, like with the candy though, I don't know what you do, but when we get our stash, we usually go through it, separate it,
Hmm.
and I will tell them, like, this is a lot. Like, we're not going to be able to get through this, so let's kind of either donate it, or
Hmm.
let's get rid of what we're not going to eat. And there are some things that are worse for their teeth, and I'm like, nah. Or
Yeah.
you might choke on this, so let's just throw this out. And so there's things that we throw out, but I definitely don't keep it all,
Yeah. No, we do
because
the same
I
thing.
right, yeah. And
Yeah.
and again, it comes back to that whole setting up your environment. Well, you want to set it up for your kids too, so that they succeed, right? So
Hmm.
if that's all we have, and we have this huge stash of it there, they know that, so they're going to want to keep gravitating towards that,
Yeah. Yes.
right? So the
For sure.
same principles apply, really, is
Yeah.
what we're saying when it comes
Yeah.
to yourself and your kids. I don't know, is there, like, besides like having a piece of candy every day, when it comes to Halloween, like, what do you think? Like, what do you?
So it's actually funny that you brought that up, because yes, I do believe that like desensitizing yourself can be a very powerful tool. But also for me, I'll tell you, because it's funny that we're talking about this,
Mm-hmm.
and this happened because this happened even before we decided to have this recording.
Mm-hmm.
My kid told me, "Mommy, we need to buy Halloween candy still," and I said, "Yeah, I know." She's like, "How come you haven't yet?" I said, "Because I have no chill." Meaning,
Ah.
I know how I am, because I get more relaxed in maintenance. I
Right.
still am very controlled about certain things, as far as like making sure that everything is still calculated. I'm still within my numbers, but I do have a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not zero fucks, but
Flexibility.
there you go.
You
I have a
do.
little bit more
Yeah.
flexible, or I have less inhibitions. More
Yes.
inhibitions or
Yes.
less? I don't know. Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to
Less. Less.
say. Less inhibitions.
Yeah.
So in years past, we've had the candy early. Like October 1st, I had the candy. I ordered it because I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's just get it over with. But guess what happened?
You ate it.
We hit like the middle, or like the bottom fourth of the bag before Halloween even hit, and I had to order more. Because
Yeah.
between me and my husband, we like it. We like to snack on it. Like, you grab one here, grab one there, and we just don't think about it, right? So for
Mm-hmm.
me, if you are able to identify that you're that type of person, my suggestion
Mm.
would be, just don't have it available until you need it. So like, I
Right.
won't order it until like maybe the week before, because there's less chances that we're going to hit the middle or the bottom quarter of the
Mm.
bag in 1 week, because we're just not like
Right.
that. So
Right.
that is something that I think that people need to, again, it takes identifying yourself and how you operate. Like, what's going to be the best tactic for you? Desensitizing yourself, or just not having it around, making it harder for you to
Right.
like indulge in it, or like lose quote unquote control over it. So
Mhm.
that's me. So I know that like I said, I'm just not going to really care too much. So I'm just not going to
Mhm.
set myself up. I'm going to make sure,
Yeah.
like, I got
Yeah.
the Reese's bag, but like I know, like, that's not something that like I really want to like have on a daily basis. It's not,
Mhm.
that's not it for me. For me, it's like the Skittles, the sour Skittles, like the now and laters, like all of that stuff, like the chewy Starburst, things like that. That's
Mhm.
where I'm like, yes, like
Mm.
it's in my hands, and I'm like, so that's where I'm like,
Little
I'm just not
gremlin.
going to have that here. When I start to become a gremlin over like the Reese's pumpkins or like chocolate is Shark Week. So I'm able to identify like
Mm.
my patterns. And I think that that's
Mhm.
important for people to understand too. So that way you can figure out how to navigate it for you. Because again, it's not cut and dry. It's not black and white. Like you just have to figure out you, and
Yeah.
even if it takes you, I mean, it might sound cheesy, but maybe like logging your patterns to see,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
just to have that data to see like, okay, this day it was Shark Week, so this is why I reacted this way, or this is why I ate like this is why I had
Yeah.
less inhibitions, or this week my dog has surgery, so I ate my feelings.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I think that's also
Yeah.
important for people to understand. So that's how I navigate it, because I've seen it. I have the data to prove that if I have the candy here early, no,
No.
we're buying another bag
Yeah,
before Halloween.
exactly. That's just so many good points that you made. And I'm just thinking about myself and I'm like, that is true. Like, I can have that box of Halloween candy now and be okay
Mhm.
with it, and my kids are fine around it. But is there more of a tendency to reach for it because of availability? For sure. On the other hand, I've done a lot of work with emotional regulation, and like you said, like you recognize your patterns. So I do recognize my patterns and know when it's happening, but not having it in my house doesn't necessarily stop me from taking that route. I'll figure out a way, right? Because if I'm in that state, I will
Mhm.
figure out a way. But I also recognize that not having it around is also beneficial for me as well. It's not restriction. It's not that I can't have it. It's just why even walk to that pantry and have that thought of like, it's a whole willpower thing. Like, why
Mhm.
even rely on that? You don't have to, right?
Yeah.
So I think just for me personally, this is my opinion, I think just taking it out of your environment. I know we've spoken about that in the past podcasts, taking it out of your environment. Sure, it's definitely a strategy, a tool. However, if you haven't done the inside work, it don't
Yes.
matter.
It doesn't, because at some point you're going to have to face it, because you
Yeah.
can not have it readily available all day long, make it harder for you to get. But like you said, when you're in that state, you want it, you're going to go get it. You're like
Yeah.
fiending for it. You're like, all right, where's my keys? I'm going. So at that point, you're going to have to understand and figure out like, why am I looking for that endorphin hit through food? Why
Right.
am I trying to
Yeah.
self-soothe with food? Why is it so hard for me to just sit here in my feelings without the pint of ice cream? Why can't I just sit?
Right. Right. Exactly. And when you're in that state and you catch yourself, like, you can't, it's already happening. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
happen. So the key is always to take that time to just reflect on after it's happened, like you've said already, and it's just to say, okay, cool, it happened. Now what can I do? Like, let me
Mm-hmm.
think about it. Where is this coming from? All of that. But that, again, that's something difficult to do, and maybe difficult to do without a coach or I don't know, seeing a therapist, something. Maybe you have no idea how to navigate that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where like someone like Carmi and I, who we are more biased towards the whole emotional regulation and nervous system stuff. And so we do really, like, okay, I won't speak for you, but I know for me, I really do believe in it. And it's why I continue to learn about it and, use it in my coaching. I know you do too. So I don't know if you want to kind
No,
of speak on it a
I'm.
little bit.
You could speak on me for that, because I stand
Yeah.
firm on that too. Because
Yeah.
we are living, breathing proof that the missing piece for us, and I'll speak
Yeah.
for you, it was that.
Yes.
It was that.
Hmm.
So that's why we are quote unquote biased about it, because you could do all the things, but you can still feel like an empty shell, because there's some deep rooted things inside you that you have got to unpack. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
saying that you've got to like go all the way to like day one, but like you got to figure out why you're navigating the way you're navigating. You
Yeah.
just have to, or else you're just going to keep spinning your wheels, and you're going to live your life until the day you die, spinning your wheels, like just thinking, oh, now you're going to label yourself like I'm just an emotional eater or I'm just this. You could be an emotional eater, but you can also figure out your triggers. You can also figure out why you operate the way you operate. You don't have to just
Mm-hmm.
live and breathe under that label or that title. At least
Exactly.
you know. It's like
Exactly.
you're okay. So like alcoholics, right? They're an alcoholic, but they're in recovery. They
Mm-hmm.
understand that. They label themselves that, but then they also still do the work to not be an alcoholic
Yeah.
anymore. So, I
Right.
mean, two things can be true at the same time, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. I did you see Jimmy's post today?
I did not.
I don't know. Oh, okay, yeah. He posted something along those lines. Like he's like, my content isn't very fitness related. Because of if you don't do the work, you have to do the inside work. It does not matter. There's enough nutrition content out
There
there.
is.
Like do this, do that. Why a lot of my content is also very much more mindset related. Yes, motivational too, but it's because that's the stuff that needs to be figured out
Yeah.
first, right? And all of
Hmm.
the strategies, tools, all these things. Yes, I mean, you don't have to figure it out first. It can be concurrent to your
Yeah.
weight loss journey or health journey, whatever, because it is for us. We're still working on things. I'm still working on things, and I'll be transparent. Like, I had a rough couple of months, and I have been turning to food sometimes. That is my go to, sometimes alcohol. But again, like, not to that same degree,
Yeah.
right? Like, not to that same level. And when it happens, I know it's happening. I also know I need to get, like, move through it and work
Hmm.
through these things.
Hmm.
So it's not to say that it's not going to happen. Like, yeah, I'm a coach, I'm in this industry, but it's also to show you that the whole point of this is not to eliminate the bad and all the, I'm
Mm-mm.
putting this in air quotes, the bad things about you, or oh no, like you failed because you had a episode where you ate way too much, or maybe it went on for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. The whole point of this, and why taking the time to learn about yourself, figure out these things, do the inside work, trust the process, because this is what the process
Hmm.
is to learn,
And
right?
to
Just
honor
learn.
it. It is what it's who
Yeah.
you are. Don't try to detach yourself from it. It's who you are. For better or
Yeah.
worse, it's who you are. You're just going to have to find that self-acceptance within yourself, and also learn how to navigate within your own self. Like, how do you do that? So
Hmm.
it's like you said, like the binge eater. So the binge eater is still going to have moments, right? But maybe that recovering binge eater now only eats a third of the pint, whereas before they'd hit the bottom of the pint
Yes.
before the blackout came, before they came out of their blackout, and they're like, oh shit, right? But then maybe
Right.
now they're like, oh, I got to like a fourth of it. Oh shit, okay, let me put it away. That's,
Win.
yeah,
Yes.
that's still
Progress. That's
progress.
progress.
Progress is
Yes.
progress. Like, it doesn't have to look any type of
Exactly.
way. And that's like ultimately what we're trying to say is you got to figure out what works for you. But like also too, you have to be able to identify why you're doing the things you're doing. And that only happens
Hmm.
when you start figuring out you and start figuring out your shit. Because it's
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that there's anybody that's really that cut and dry where they're like, I can just only do my nutrition and that's it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but I do feel like there's a lot of things that people have to and should unpack.
Yeah, and there is that caveat that, I'll say that sometimes in my stuff too, just because we don't want to, like, speak in extremes, but for the most part, eating or anything like what we, overconsume or eat too much, drink too much, whatever, like, it's all emotional. It's all emotional. So whether
Mm-hmm.
it's very the level for you or another person, it might differ as far as like how deep that goes. But there's always work, right? There's always
Mm-hmm.
some inside work that we can do. It doesn't have to be like you have to go see a therapist. Like, no, you may not. I did. But
I did
you
too.
may just, yeah, exactly. For you, it may just mean like following some really reputable kind of, I don't know, psychologist accounts, because there are really some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. Or even some
I
kind of
know
life coach or something.
yeah, and you can just pick up like tidbits of advice or information that might just like be like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, that struck a chord with me, that makes sense, oh, let me look into that a little bit more, and that's it. That'll get you going, right?
Yeah.
Or, and for those few people, it may mean that it really is a lack of education. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Just you've been caught up in these, all of these beliefs that you've grown up with. And it's just a matter of turning that around and figuring out the truth, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We talk about, and that's it. And it might just be that. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're not saying that everyone has to do it, but most people probably have an
Most
element,
people
of
should
work.
at little,
Yeah,
at least the worst you're going to uncover is like, okay, my shit wasn't that deep to unpack. Okay, cool. Then
yeah,
it wasn't.
yeah.
Good for you. I'm happy for you, legitimately happy for you, because my shit is deep,
Exactly.
but that's okay. That's a different story for a different day. But like, it's one of those things where it's like, you got to fuck around and find out.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what it
exactly. Right.
is.
That's exactly what it
Because
is. So
even though too, we've had this discussion before, like we don't even realize that like even some of our deepest things, like even family gatherings, it revolves around food, because food makes people happy, right? Or you get the promotion and you go and celebrate with dinner and drinks, again surrounded around food, and you associate like a happy moment with food. You go to the doctor's office and you got to go get your vaccinations, and mom and dad took you for ice cream after because you cried. Again,
right.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes
Yeah.
you don't realize that that's happening because it's so ingrained inside of you that you don't realize that like you associate like soothing or happy moments sometimes around food. And it's not a bad
Yeah,
thing.
definitely.
It's not a
No.
bad thing, but if you're a super emotional person or in a super emotional state and you're wondering why you're hitting the bottom of bags of things like and having Cheeto dust all over your fingers, maybe like you need to identify like there's something deeper
Yeah.
going on.
Well, I remember, this is just a kind of a separate example, but in our culture, we have tea time. It's always in the afternoon,
Chat time.
2, 3. Cha time. Yeah, exactly. Not chai. Cha.
Cha. No, I know exactly what you're
Yeah,
talking about
you
because
got it.
no, Filipinos call tea cha also.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, every day, and even today, my parents, they have their tea. Um, historically, though, I remember it being paired with like Indian sweets or just Indian like fried food, like
Mm-hmm.
pakoras or samosas. And I'm sure the audience has probably heard of this stuff. And it wasn't all the time, but it was when anybody would come over, that is what would come out,
Yep.
right? Because it's so convenient now. Back in
Mm-hmm.
the day, we had to make it, but now you can just go up the street to any kind of Indian sweet shop.
Mm-hmm.
Not here, but where I live in
Yeah.
BC, it's very prevalent, and just go grab it, right? And then, so I did. So you talk about association correlation. Yeah. So for me, I did correlate that time because it was a nice time, like to sit with family, to talk, to have discussions. You would have, your cha and all of these things. It was fun. But now, like, I realize and I'm able to separate the two. So I'm able to say, hey, like, I can have the cha. I can have that time. Now, for me, it's more of a grounding ritual, something I've learned from Jeb.
Mm-hmm.
And so I use it as my time to kind of air quotes decompress a little bit, but really, if my kids aren't around or my kids watching TV during that half hour time, I just use it for that. I'm not necessarily talking to anyone. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll hop on the phone, call my sister, whoever. But I've learned to kind of separate that now. And that's, I think, what you're saying. Like, even though that's been ingrained in you, a certain way of doing things, you can reframe and change that narrative to
Mm-hmm.
still mean something for you, but in a way that looks healthier, right? Or
Yeah.
is healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, I have some South Asian clients and they do the same thing. Like, oh yeah, like I cannot give up my job. I'm like, cool. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Let's just
How can we build your
pair
day
that.
around that?
Yeah. And pair it with, something not historically what you're used to having, as
Yeah.
you grew up, right?
Yeah.
So even
Well,
my oh yeah, go ahead.
Filipinos are very much the same. So they have
Yeah.
something called merienda. So if somebody
Mm.
comes over, or it's like the midday snack, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
typically your coffee or tea with some kind of
Mm-hmm.
sweet, because they go and get
Yep.
like a Filipino dessert. Like it's usually like a sticky rice
See?
kind of thing, or like an ensamada, which is like a bread with butter and cheese and sugar, and it's delicious.
Mm,
And so it's not about like taking that away. For me personally, like what I would do if I had a client in the Philippines who merienda is something that's special to them, we don't have
mm-hmm.
to take that out. But
Mm-hmm.
let's log that, let's identify that, and then now let's put that in, so that way we can build the rest of your day around it. Because
Right.
again, I'm going to say it till we're blue in the face, it's not about taking out, it's about what can we put in. So how can we add in more nutrient dense food throughout your day so you can have your merienda and
Mm-hmm.
still be happy, because it's part of your identity. It's cool, it's fine, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and like Halloween's one day of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's just one day. It sucks that we're surrounded by the treats and all of that, all the chocolate candy, like in August. It starts coming out in
Yeah.
August. It sucks, but I love what you do because you recognize it and you're aware, because self awareness is
Mm-hmm.
always, the first step. But not only are you aware, you take action accordingly,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you
Yeah.
just don't bring that into your house until very close to
Mm-hmm.
Halloween, right? And I think we're going to talk about this in another episode, but it's not just one thing. It's not just Halloween. There's obviously, it's always
It's
something.
leading
And
up to
so,
something else. Yes.
yeah. And so we'll save that for another podcast
Yes.
as
But there was
far
actually
as
also a
that's
really good
concerned.
point that you kind of touched on too, that I want to touch on
Okay.
is because you're like, okay, this is really good now because now we have like the fun size, like the minis. So
Hmm.
that's another thing that people can like learn to navigate. So like
Yeah.
we got a visitor, he wanted to jump in my lap. um,
Oh,
you were
he
talking and I
deserves
was
to
like,
be here. Yeah.
yeah, guys, if you guys don't know, my dog had surgery. He had a mast cell tumor, so we'll have path results out in about a week. But he's fine. He's just medicated up.
Oh,
But
he deserves to be here.
it's like having a toddler again, because I have to make sure he gets his meds every 12 hours. He can't go outside unattended. Like I got to make sure like he's
Mm.
pooping and peeing properly and not like backed up. So it's like a whole thing right now. But anyways, I digress. You had talked about like having the fun size stuff available, because a lot of
Hmm.
people, they do have a poor relationship, and we're not here to invalidate those feelings that you have, right? But maybe a way to help you desensitize yourself and still have that is, don't get the full size king size bars, go
Hmm.
get the minis, or the little fun size ones. And even on top of that, like they've even upped the ante a little bit, where they have even the minis. So if you know that
Mm.
like the fun size ones are just beyond your control right now, maybe set yourself up where you have just the minis available. And like you've said in the past before, like don't have it out, have it behind a closed
Hmm.
door, so it's in your home but you don't see it. If you don't see it all the time, then it's fine, just
Hmm.
have a couple out where you're like, okay, oh yeah, I have those. Because maybe sometimes it's just that pure like act of just having that little taste is just going to be enough for you. And maybe that's a
Right.
tactic that people can do too. Again, it's going to take you being aware, though, aware of your actions. So if you know that the king size are a no-go and the fun size are still kind of questionable, maybe go get the minis instead.
Yeah, and it's just as you're saying that, I'm thinking like, and it's not even just like you don't have to practice this just in the month of October because that's when these things are available. When I think about it, I was at the dollar store and I'm looking, I'm like, these little sizes are available year round.
They are.
So
Yep.
you can actually implement this strategy at any time. It doesn't have to be in October. He's growling.
He's not. He's
Oh, he's
snorting.
snoring.
That he's not
Oh, he's
growling.
snoring.
He's
Oh.
he's in heaven right now. This is his like, I'm at peace. Like everything's well in the world. This is how Frenchies sound.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, yes. Again, these things are now available. Chips. Oh my God. Go to Costco Business Center, which I love. It's obviously close to me. So, but you can get snack size bags of chips pre
Hmm.
portioned out. I did that in the beginning of my journey. Everything was pre portioned, like a bag of chips, all of that. Now, obviously, I can have a bigger bag, just weigh it out, whatever. But in the beginning, just to kind of, what is it, that resistance or less friction, it
Yeah.
was like, okay, so that's one less thing I have to measure, one less thing I have to weigh, the piece of
Yep.
chocolate, the chips out of the bag. And if the audience doesn't know this, like I did not pay attention to the quality of my food when I first started. It
Did
was
any
more
of
just,
us? Did any
I
of
know,
us?
right?
None of
It
us
was
paid
more
attention to
quantity.
serving size.
No.
We were just like, okay, this looks about right. Sure. Oh no, I need to go get some
Yeah.
more. I'm still hungry.
Yeah, yeah, and like, and so it was really like, okay, just focus on the quantity of what you're eating and see how much you're eating and whatever. And eventually, again, it phases out. You transition out of it. The longer you do this, the longer you allow yourself to be in this process. These things will happen. I know I say natural, they're a natural kind of byproduct of the transition itself, from going from like snack size bags to a big bag and being able to have that in your house, to not caring about the quality of your food, to starting to pay attention to what you're eating. All of this happens in stages, and it's going to vary from one person to the other. um, but it's just to say that it's okay to start where you're at.
Yeah. Meet
You don't,
yourself where you're at
right?
and be
Meet
realistic with where
yourself.
you're
Yeah.
at. Because
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing that people don't understand. You're so caught up in comparison. Jody down the street is, this far ahead of you. Don't worry about Jody
Mhm.
from down the street. Worry
Right.
about where you're at, because understand that if you're
Exactly.
trying to move that needle forward and continually trying to do something in a positive direction on a daily basis, and I say something because it may not always be the same thing, and maybe you're pulling from wherever you can in that moment to add some kind of positive, you know stuff into your life, then so
Hmm.
be it. Like, understand that there's no one way to do it. And I can't tell you enough. And this is why, I've had a conversation with you where I'm like,
Uh-huh.
golly, I'm having a hard time posting, because it's like, how many times do I have to tell people? Like, it boils down to the boring basics. And that's not me shitting
Yeah.
on people, but it's just like, honestly, like, y'all want to find all these things on all these problems, but really the number one thing is you're not even starting with the basics, with those foundational habits. Like, we don't need to worry
Hmm.
about anything else. And like, you're worried about homegirl with on her GLPs, and Jody down the street doing keto. Like, but what are you doing? Let's worry about you.
Yeah. And I guess we'll leave this with you today. But yes, meet yourself. You're at where you're at, and maybe that means that today, starting today, you don't restrict yourself from eating those chocolates. Have one every day, and then come Halloween, see where you're at. Try it
Yeah.
out, right?
Yeah.
Instead of completely restricting yourself all month and then on Halloween day, like going all batshit crazy, and then letting that continue, you know, for longer. Try the strategy, see if it works. If not, there's probably more to unpack.
And report back to us. Let us know. Honestly, if you guys are listening
Yeah.
to this and you're legitimately trying to find ways to get out of that, hamster wheel, and something resonated with you where you want to try, report back to us. Let us know, because
Hmm.
honestly, like, we're just speaking off of either our clients' observations or our own observations. And it's always deeper, right? There's so many shades
Yeah.
of gray. Like, you might be a different, case study, then so be it. But like, maybe you're
Yeah.
a hybrid person where you did a little bit of both. Like, let us know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. We would love to hear feedback from you guys. So, I guess with that, go enjoy your treats, and thank you for listening. If you felt like this helped you in any way or can help someone else, please share, like, I don't know, subscribe
Subscribe.
to the podcast, give us a
And
5-star rating.
yes, and follow us on our Instagram feeds.
Yes. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Or should I say boo? No, just
Oh,
kidding.
boo.